Hey, I just got a call from one of my students today, and he said, Marlon, I have just sold my first website for $10,000. When Hudson came to me, he was really struggling to get $3,500 for a website. And typically he was getting around $2,000. And he was about to give up and just get out of the industry because it just wasn't enough money. And today, on that call, he went from a $3,500 website builder to a web designer who builds now websites for $10,000. And today I want to show you exactly how he did it. The problem at the moment is that there is a pressure on web design prices going down. And if you're a web designer, it's a real problem. People just don't see the value in websites. And the reality is that if you don't do things differently to other people in the industry, there is going to be a downward pressure because so many people are just focusing on price. And when you compete on price and features, then the price just consistently goes down. But if you want to eliminate your competition, so your clients can't compare you to anyone else, if you want to have clients that are happy to pay these prices to you, and they're happy to pay more, then you have to do things differently. And Hudson was able to implement 3 basic principles that I taught him, and he was able to implement them. And on the first run out using them, his price went from 3.5 to 10K. And this is how he did it. The first thing he did is he used hallway conversations. So when you go and meet with a client, there's normally a gap between when you actually present your proposal. And what a lot of web designers do is they say nothing to the client for that week or that 3 days, and then they turn up and then they present the proposal price. And on the day, there's typically a shock. There's like, wow, that's expensive. And sometimes it's like, wow, that's cheap. And then you lose credibility. But more often than not, your price is not aligned with the client's price. So we use something called hallway conversations. And basically it's this. If you were to be in an office, you'd typically bump into a colleague in the hallway and you'd have a quick chat. And sometimes you'd settle a problem as you're walking through the hallway. Hey, what about that issue? You come up with a solution and then you separate and you go on with your day. We try and do that with clients when we're about to present a proposal. So typically what we'll do is while we're working the price out, we'd call them and say, hey, John, I was just thinking about this proposal. And, I was thinking about this. What do you think? A better way of doing it is actually saying, hey, John, I've just got the price almost ready. It's about $20,000. Does that sound right to you? And John might say, wow, that's like double what we were thinking. And you would say, wow, that's perfect. Great for me to call you right now because we can actually work out the price based on the feature set and you can start negotiating with them. So the day that you present the proposal, they already know the number and you've negotiated with them so there's no surprises. So what he did is he was able to negotiate the price before he actually presented it so there were no nasty surprises. The second thing he did is the gap between the proposal being delivered. Now the proposal's been delivered, and when the client said yes, what he did was he actually created a better relationship with the client. So typically, a web designer will say and do nothing. They go cold, or they go dark, they say nothing, and then they may just call the client up in a week and go, hey, do you want to go ahead? Or the client calls up and says, you didn't get the project. What Hudson did is he actually called the client up with an excuse to have a chat to develop the relationship. So he called up and said, hey, I was thinking about what we spoke about in that meeting where I gave you the proposal. What do you think about this? I thought about that. I think we could do it differently. Or what else you could do is say, hey, I was just thinking about it. I saw this article. I want to send it to you. I think it'll really help you in the business based on what we talked about. Or you might call up one of the decision makers or the influencers and say, hey, Sue, in the meeting, what do you think about what I talked about? Do you think that would work? Wouldn't it work? What do you think, the decision maker might think? You're developing relationships. So he had 2 or 3 conversations with people in the organization between delivering the proposal and them saying yes. And that is what helped him get the job. The third thing he did is before he presented the proposal and during the proposal, he actually sold an outcome, not a website. And so he didn't say, do you want a website? Here's a website solution. He actually talked about the problem. And what they really wanted was leads. He figured out through a series of questions that I taught him how to figure out what they really wanted. Not what they said they wanted, what they really wanted. And then what he did is he mapped what they really wanted to outcomes. So he said, if you want this, is this the outcome you're looking for? And then when he got the outcomes, he mapped the outcomes to the features of the website he's going to deliver. So now he's got, what do you really want? And these are the features in my website that will give you what you really want. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because that is critical to why he was able to increase his prices. And so that is how Hudson, in a couple of weeks, was able to go from $3,500 a website to $10,000 website. This has now put him at a whole different level in his mind and his business for what he was doing before. So remember, Hudson said, Marlon, I'm not enjoying my job anymore. Now I said to him, Hudson, are you enjoying your job? He's like, Marlon, hell yes. I love my job. It's amazing how more money will solve a lot of problems, even the problem of enjoyment of your job. When you make more money and you feel appreciated, you feel like your client is paying you what you deserve, the enjoyment factor of your job goes up, of your web design business. You love your business again, and now he has money to solve real problems in his business. So if you want results like Hudson, then I want to recommend you just book in a scale session with me. And in that session, it's a 15-minute brainstorm where we're going to take some of these principles, we're going to map them to your business, and we're going to show you how to basically make some changes to grow your business in the next 60 to 90 days. So to qualify for that, you've got to just click the button below this video or fill in an application. If you qualify, you can book an appointment directly in my calendar. We'll get on a call, and I'll tell you that call can drastically change the direction of your business, just like it has for Hudson. So fill in the application. I look forward to speaking to you soon.